Hey, hey! Welcome back. Welcome back to a Pup in the Life. As you can hear, we are still on a station. Important thing is not being under a station. Sorry. We're in a station and we're actually headed to some church function for people who believe, friends that have been have a newborn, so we're celebrating. In today's episode of the podcast, just a quick take on one thing that we heard a lot, and by a lot I mean a lot, from people who stand on a, say, higher level than the one we think we are at, which, by the way, is the first type of analysis that you should make is, has the person made more things than me? If so, it's probably worth listening to them. But most useful is, have they done something similar than I want to do? Like, it doesn't make sense for you to just take advice at face value from, for example, sports people. If you're not a sports person, like, it doesn't really make sense at all. So what do we have as a piece of advice that nobody tells you, but that's quite obvious and quite in front of you once you start talking with the right people? This is, and we just heard this today from a person, was everybody has done it this way. This is the way you grow a company. And what is the way is buying other companies. But let me ask you a question. Why? Of course you need to do it with head. But the question is, how many times have you heard as a founder that this is a legit way to grow your company? Probably none. And let me tell you why. Because if you haven't raised lots of capital, if you haven't got a cash flow that lets you, which is very hard usually to do all in cash, just like as a person, that lets you buy a company, it's quite hard for you to just understand, to just grasp this easy concept as a concept. And so if you consider this type of analysis, you're gonna realize that if you start asking to people close to you that have made it, or just ask people, ask founders, ask anyone that has done it different ways, ask anyone who has done something that has seen more than you in your space, and they're gonna tell you this is the way companies grow. And we're just taking this because it's one of the easiest things to understand, because it even when mom started thinking about it, it felt so far away. But at the same time, why should it be? You're limiting your own way of thinking. And guess what? Anyone who has grown a company, in the end, has started acquiring other companies. So the thing is, when, or maybe it is how, and maybe it is even why. Ask yourselves different questions. And unfortunately, the thing about this whole is that if you look at the handbook for the good startupper, the one who has made it, the steps that you need to take, they're not going to tell you. Just like they're not going to tell the obvious obstacles that you're going to encounter. Like, for example, which is probably one of the most common ones, is distribution. This is just an example. And so I just wanted to share, because if you talk to the wrong people, which is most people, they're giving you advice. They might want to give you advice from a good standpoint, but to be honest, it doesn't need to be right. It needs to be right on their end, but it might not just be right for you. It's just a question of perspective. And the weird thing is that once you start shifting perspective and you start trying to find different opinions and trying to find bigger scale, bigger things, always remember that I already told you, you're probably thinking too small. You're gonna realize that actually, people are gonna tell you, and are gonna be very open about it. They're gonna tell you, yeah, that's exactly how companies were built in the first place, and that's how everybody does it. So why doesn't anyone talk about it? I don't know, but it requires a shift in perspective. It is hard. It's not easy. It's not easy to accept, because it also takes into consideration that you need to accept the existence of some big fish and some small fish. That is obvious, and we already talked about this. But if you analyze it and you're gonna start to talk with people, you're gonna feel and you're gonna actually have in front of you the sheer fact that this is the truth, because it's supported by facts, not by fiction that tells you this is how it should be done. Alex Hormozi always says, remove should. This is how it is. Is it? And if it's not, just don't be afraid to smash those ideas, those thoughts, those patterns, those glasses through which you see reality. Just take them away. Just take them down. Just destroy them. Just do what you need to do to fucking build. Happy weekend. Sending you lots of kisses, hugs, and a bit of bugs. Bye.